Woo! Man, I haven't been to a gathering in well over a decade, but this lineup, Tech, ICP, you got 3-6 Mafia, Bone Thugs, R.A. the Rugged Man, Guar, Waka Flocka. Me and Waka Flocka's crew got into it backstage at a show in Springfield, I think. I mean, that's gonna be, they're calling it Legends Gathering. I can't remember my first gathering. I think it was like 04, right? I'm like 17, 18 years old. I make the drive on my own, right? I showed up the day beforehand. It was nighttime. I didn't know where I was supposed to go, and down the road I see a bit of commotion. You know, I see a campfire and whatnot. So I pull in, and it was just Juggalos, but it went crazy. There was this kid, we nicknamed him CHRISPY. There's huge bonfire going, and someone had just thrown in a bunch of plastic, and people were getting mad. I think it was like milk jugs. And CHRISPY's like, y'all can power bomb me on this thing. So sure enough, a big burly son of a gun, he picks little tiny CHRISPY up, flips him up, bam! When CHRISPY hit, you knew it just went bad, right? He's trying to get up, and people are trying to help him out of the fire, but his arm is stuck to it, right? And then he pulled his arm up, and it's got like the melted plastic jugs and wrappers stuck to it. He couldn't really walk, so had to call an ambulance, and they had to come in there in just the middle of the woods. Funny thing, 2 or 3 days later, I'm at the main stage area, and I see CHRISPY, and he's still got his hospital gown on and like his little booties, right? And I went up and talked to him, and his arm looked like he had just been in a severe car wreck. It was all chewed up and gross. He was like casted head to toe. But he still made it back. The amount of stuff you see, or at least I saw, that only like 20, 30 people got that experience was crazy. Like, I went down there sort of last minute, and I had a ticket, but I didn't have a campsite, right? So I was essentially just sleeping on the ground. So there was an area, they had a pro wrestling ring set up, and they had bleachers there. So I think it was the first night, maybe, I'm sleeping on those bleachers, and I wake up to a commotion, and Shaggy from ICP apparently had decided he wanted to do a little pro wrestling. So it was just him alone and, you know, the 20, 30 people who were around there. And oh, I remember what it was. He was driving around on his golf cart, and someone challenged him to a wrestling match, and he's like, come on, guys. But they didn't have access to the lights because they didn't have any crew there. So it was just like 20 or 30 of us holding up flashlights, cell phones, whatever. And it was just a bunch of people wrestling each other, which they didn't know what they were doing. So it was really just people beating the hell out of each other. And then Shaggy wrestled that dude. And it was just a random thing that happened in the middle of the night just for well, us. The Miss Juggalette contest, right? A girl from my town was also there, came separately. And she winded up making it to the top 2. So I walk up there. I'd missed all of the previous stuff, but they were doing crowd votes. So they had 3 of them up there. The girl I knew, the girl who winded up winning, and a third. And they're like, you want this girl, yeah, give it up. And then it came down to just 2 of them. And the girl I knew really couldn't do much. She was gorgeous, and that got her that far. But the guy hosting it was like, all right, so we got to have a tiebreaker here. What can you do, and what can you do to break the tie? The girl I knew didn't really have much to say. I think she shook her ass or something. The other girl was in it to win it. All of a sudden, a full kielbasa sausage popped up. I don't know where it came from, but like one of the ones you get from Walmart that's like a horseshoe, you know? Sure enough, she pulled her panties off, started shoving that sausage up and in her. This is right on the stage in front of hundreds of people. Then when she got done with it, she hands it into the crowd to some random dude. Bear in mind, these were 100+ degree days, so you could only imagine. But when she got done sausage slopping, she hands it to a random dude in the crowd. He takes a bite out of it, chews it up, swallows it, and throws it into the crowd. It was insane. Of course, she winded up winning. I mean, how are you going to beat that, you know? But it was just full of these crazy experiences. Even just being able to, like, be at the barricade in a crowd that was like 10,000, like seeing Tech 9, you know, I'd seen Tech 9 several times at that point, but being up there at barricade and then having 10,000 people chanting KC Mo, roll, you know, that is crazy. Or I can remember ABK, Anybody Killer. He came out with a DVD called Road Fools, maybe. And it shows his gathering performance. So you can see the 18-year-old me there at barricade on like the left side and like a bright neon green shirt, you know, so it kind of memorialized the event. Another performance, Old Dirty Bastard. It was his last performance before he passed at like the 04, 05 gathering. And he didn't do a full performance. He didn't understand. He was scheduled to perform right before ICP. Everybody was rowdy, and he didn't understand the Fago thing. So people are launching Fagos. He's getting mad. Some dude launched a 2-liter or 3-liter, hit his DJ setup perfectly. I mean, just hit it, smacked down, shit winded up flying. So they were performing like his mainstream song that, what is it? Give me that money. What is it? Give me that money. Something like that. And it winded up skipping the playback. So they couldn't change songs and finish his set. So they just wind up performing that song 2 or 3 times over before calling it. And like I say, when ICP performed, you know, I've seen ICP dozens of times over the years. It's been quite some time, but seeing them at barricade with 10,000 people behind me, like, it was insane. I remember they had a banner that dropped that just went like 8 feet down or so from the top. And it said, what was it? It said, the most hated band forever. And I remember for like the 30 minutes while they were changing set stuff before ICP went on, I remember just like 17-year-old me just staring up at that and just something about the wording. I thought it was awesome. Oh, they grouped the campsites. It was so big at this place. Like, from the furthest campsites to like the main stage area would take you over 30 minutes of walking, but they grouped the campsites by area. So I knew people from like the Kansas City area, so that was a little lane that I would frequent. So it's middle of the night, it's dark as hell. I'm walking with a Kansas City dude. We're walking through the little rows of campsites, and there's some sort of a hubbub, a commotion up front. And we're like, all right, man, let's go check it out. So we get up there, and there is just this monstrosity of a female, just huge ass like this, you know. And she's been over the back of someone's car, and there's a line of dudes. And she is loving every second of it. We didn't realize what we were walking into. We get a little close and we realize, and we're like, oh, man. And we start talking to one of the dudes there, pull them to the side, and we're like, man, you really, like, they're like 3 dudes in front of you. Like, really? And he's like, yeah, and we've all vowed not to wear rubbers. And I'm like, how is that a sign of, like, how is that something to be proud of? You know, you're running in another man's tracks. And if you've ever been at the gathering when it was at this location, it was in Illinois. You knew showers were sparse and they didn't always work. And like, I don't know, that seems like a situation where you might get something on you that showering isn't going to get off, you know. But it was all these little things that you would see. And there were just thousands of people, thousands of events. I can remember I got my car got towed. That campsite that I was parked at. See, I didn't have a pass to park on the campgrounds. It was okay if you were parked there, but it was about a 30, 40-minute walk to get to my car to get stuff or to run to get supplies. So in the middle of the night, I moved it up to a closer campsite. Well, since it was nighttime, I didn't notice the giant sign they had in there saying, if you're parked here more than 2 hours, you know, you'll get towed. Because I saw people during the day and it was just full of people. And I'm like, oh, this is just another one. It's just closer. So it's the final day. and I go back to get my car. My car's just not there, right? So I winded up having to there were other people from my town who had came down there. I had to get them to give me a ride, and there were 2 towns that had the same name. It was like something Park and something Heights. We wind up going to the wrong one. I mean, it took us hours to eventually get my car. And then this was back before like GPS on your phones, you know. I wind up getting lost. I mean, the trip took me like 3 days to get back. My family had reported me missing. There were marshals looking for me, like the whole nine. And really, I was just hanging out at side of the road, whatever you call them, rest stops, you know, just sleeping for 18 hours at a time, catching up on it. And the car was a lot more comfortable than, you know, laying down cardboard on the ground, which is what I did for a couple of the nights. Oh, there was a dude that passed. It was the last night. And apparently there were cliffs, like there were like fishing events, and you could go swimming in this nasty pond you wouldn't really want to go swimming in. Apparently a dude and his girlfriend were up there, and the dude fell. And when he fell into like a little sliver in between 2 rocks, if I'm remembering the story correctly. And this was during ICP's set, so they could hear the music. And the guy had got really hurt, hit his head. Like I say, he wound up passing. So I guess him and his girlfriend she was above, safe, and he was down in there, and they just sung along to the songs as he passed. I didn't hear about that till later on. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of good, a lot of bad. But they always had creative things going on. Like I remember they would have tents where it was like autograph signings, right? And they're like mystery artist autographed. And we were like, all right, nothing else is going on. We'll go wait in line for that. I think it was a rainy day, if memory serves. And we're like, at least we'll be in a tent, because they had, you know, like clown tents instead of circus tents. And we were like, at least, you know, we'll get out of the rain. So the announcer comes on. And he's like, I know y'all want to know who it is. Duh. And then all of a sudden, the music for Psychopathic Riders pops up. And it was a surprise Riders performance. And it was like that, like, while this was going on, like I say, there's JCW wrestling going on. There's comedy shows going on. It is just nonstop for whatever it was, 3-5 days back then. I do wonder how it's changed, because back then, like at that gathering, we'd run you off if you were selling powder or hardcore drugs or anything like that. And then since then, you've heard the stories of like the evolution of the drug bridge and this and that. And I do wonder if, see, when I was there, people hadn't spoiled it yet. Like the outside people who weren't there for that, who were just there, let's go to this festival to get messed up. And just, you know, those people hadn't infiltrated the gathering yet. And from what I hear, that's kind of the scenario it is. I wonder if they've course corrected and the Juggalos have ran those types of people out. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it was an experience I'd recommend doing. Now, if I ever went again, I'd be getting one of those big baller RV passes. And I mean, I'd have my air conditioning, comfortable bed. You know, I'm not sleeping on the ground anymore. But yeah, it was a real fun time. But that was at the point where in my life where like I didn't miss the Psychopathic Records tour. Like that same year, I drove to Detroit, which was like a 24-hour drive to Hallowicked. You know, and there winded up being a riot. The show winded up getting shut down. Police tear gassed everything. Juggalos just getting thrown in paddy wagons. We're running outside doors, dodging and weaving the police to get to our vehicles. But yeah, if you're the type and you're on the fence of going to the gathering, man, I'd go. Save up the money, take a few days off work. I mean, like this story I just told, this is 20 years ago. You know, and a lot of these memories I hadn't thought about in a long time, but it was a fun experience. And if it's a good enough festival that I can still remember a lot of cool shit after 2 decades, my advice is go. And if you're gonna go, it sounds like this is the year to go.